Yo, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all the other episodes, stop by raprankings.com or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform.
And welcome back. And our guest today is back for the fourth time. You've heard her on Lil Uzi, on Playboy Cardi, on most recently Capadonna in one of the standout episodes of the Woo season, if you ask me.
You lost.
But Misha's
money,
back,
right?
y'all. I didn't lose money.
Also, technically, the what was it? The MF Doom tribute. I showed up there.
Yes,
so.
yes, you showed up for the MF Doom tribute as well. That counts. So this is technically your fifth appearance on the show.
4.5, give or take.
No applause, Mel?
Oh no, I was trying to figure out if you lost money or not. I don't want to quack for you losing money, but okay,
I didn't lose any money. Capadonna gained money.
That's a great way to look at it. All right, it's safe to clap now, audience. Welcome back to Misha. Misha, our audience knows her for, so whenever we talk about financial issues, they're very respectful. So they didn't want to clap just yet.
Understandable.
Well, fitting. We're talking about financial. Apparently, we're rich forever tonight, right?
Oh, if only.
Yeah, that'd be great. Let me tell you, Misha, and I'm really not trying to make this about me, but that Mega Millions came around recently, and I was convinced I was gonna win it. I was so
the worst time to play. The worst time if you must play.
There's like a deli near us, and they were like literally had a sign saying a winning ticket was sold here, and it's like I was like literally just like constantly like, do I dare? And then
that's how they get you.
I was like, just like, wait a minute, I don't even have the fucking money to afford one of these tickets. What the fuck am I doing? But I literally had my mom just like, all right, we all got to go 7 tickets in this week. We're splitting the money. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, man. It's a thing where when it gets, I always tell Moulz, when it gets that high, I'm like, I got to give it a shot. I mean, you're talking like 700 million after taxes. Like, I wrote out a list of, I think it was 49 people in my life that like, I'm going to share the winnings with them immediately. Like, I had all these plans. I was convinced.
Well, that's what Kevin Nash was suggesting as an interesting thought stimulus.
A thought-provoking stimulus, Yeah, that's what.
Are y'all listening to his podcast or?
I'll click this. You know it.
I haven't checked yet, so I really gotta get on that. Like, oh my god, I am so.
My personal suggestion is to skip to, I think it's the 3rd episode where he casts who should play the Click members in a biopic. That's a great first episode.
Ooh, oh my god, that's thrilling. But great rec. Yeah. I'm gonna keep that in mind with my roommate, and we're probably gonna watch it.
And I like this show a lot because it's not all wrestling talk.
No, yeah. Oh, did you?
Of course not.
This is gonna get us way off topic. But like, have you ever checked the Gangrel podcast?
I have.
He's in that kind of.
Yeah, he's in a dark room. If I'm guiding the podcast correctly, he has a co-host.
It's like a studio room. I literally just watched a clip of, I forget what the actual reasoning for watching the clip was, but he's talked a lot about like how Keanu is one of his favorite actors, and it's like the hostess is like, you still haven't seen the John Wicks? He's like, no, I'm so behind, man, like, and and I'm just like, the idea of Gangrel sitting on his couch in Florida watching John Wick, like, yeah, man, like, why are you gonna do that to the guy's dog? Like, that's just
oh man.
We're coming in hot. We're coming in hot,
folks. You're in the right place. This is the Rick Ross Rich Rap Review. This is track 1, Holy Ghost. Moulz Mel and Misha.
I think we may have already caught the Holy Ghost. Just envisioning Gangrel binging these films.
I gotta see. It's one of those moments. It's like, great. Now I'm gonna be upset the rest of my life that like I'm never gonna get live footage of Gangrel reacting to the John Wick movie.
God.
Yeah. Anyway,
we need Gangrel live react. So a fun thing. This last distraction, I promise. The AIW podcast going. The Card is Going to Change podcast, they brought Gangrel in for one of their tournaments, and it's like I always remember the promoter talking about just keep thinking about Gangrel and Mari Jannetty hanging out listening to Death Row's greatest hits, and it's like I know that Gangrel is a rap guy, so I'm just like I want to now to flip it all back. I want to see Gangrel with a YouTube reacts channel, like with all those guys reacting to music. I want to see Gangrel reacting to different rap songs he doesn't know about yet. Like just like I want to see. Let's bring it back. Imagine Gangrel just like with the shades on, nodding his head as Holy Ghost is playing. It's like
that's exactly the image I saw.
We may need to clip this and put it on TikTok and then send it to him so he sees. Your suggestion here. This is a great idea.
This is money, frankly.
It is.
All wrestlers are so behind. They're like, oh, we got to get on Twitch. I'm like, no, you need to get a reaction channel. You need to just talk about random fucking K-pop or whatever the fuck. I would love to know Ryback's thoughts on Blackpink. You know what I mean? I don't really, but I would love to know that exists.
It's better than watching Ryback matches. Yeah, I would rather him comment on K-pop. Honestly,
yeah. I mean, he barely does anything. But speaking of guys who have personalities riddled with steroids, let's get to Rose, baby.
Yeah, this is track 1, Holy Ghost, featuring Diddy, produced by Lil Lodi. It's Lodi, right?
Lil Lodi, yep.
Oh, okay. Well, folks, Misha, she's not new around here. So the thing is, we're not going to go through the rating systems. You know what's going on. But if you're confused by these numbers we're about to put out, raprankings.com, FAQs, rating system is there. Customarily, if you like to go first with your rating, Misha, you can do that, or we can kick this off however you want to do it.
Okay, I'm going to just start off, and I'm going to say I'm going to go either like a low 9 or a strong 8.
Okay. So 9 minus 8 plus. All right.
We're almost in the hand-holding club here. I'm a flat 8 on this one. Not sure, just I know this is an 8. I really like it.
This always happens. This always happens.
Because you don't like
guest
rap.
Comes on.
You don't like rap.
I do. I love rap. I dedicated my life to rap. But what happens is guests come on, and then it all comes to me, and I'm over there sweating like that freaking Jordan Peele gif, and I gotta give it a 6+. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
Even with all the Diddy shit talk on here, even with the Rick Ross line about his teacher, really?
I'm going to get into it. In fact, I'll tell you up top, he got out-rapped by Diddy, and Diddy wasn't even rapping.
Oh,
the ad-libs were great.
Oh, the ad-libs are classic. I mean, podcasts have made their whole identity based around the fuck your dreams ad-lib up top, okay?
Yeah, it's true. Well, I mean... I can explain first, but I'd rather not. I want the audience to forget that they're mad at me. I think you two should explain why you like it, and I can fade into the background for a little bit, or I can put myself on the cross with a diaper like the baby right now. It doesn't matter.
I think you should debaby yourself. I really do. I think you should.
Wait.
I think you should just strip down, get that diaper on.
Never mind. Wait, wasn't it? No. Wait, wasn't it? Fucking Black Youngsta who was on the cross with the diaper?
Was it
actually him?
Yeah, I don't think it was the baby. Maybe the baby did it too. I don't. I don't know. Maybe there's multiple. It's like, oh god, now I want to know the dude from Funkadelic.
No.
The dude from Funkadelic.
He did do it too.
Okay. So there's multiple guys in diapers getting crucified, but that's why I want the baby from Funkadelic, or even better, what's his face from Lords of the Underground? The funky child. I want everybody who's ever been like done like the funky baby routine, getting crucified, like not literally, but like just like I feel like we need to have a canon of baby crucifixions, like a continuum. It's like it's like the crucified monkeys in the last Planet of the Apes movie. It's like that,
I can't believe that there's this is not like an isolated incident. No,
I put it in the Zencaster chat. I'm looking at the picture of the baby Black Youngster on the cross, and I think he's wearing boxers.
Nah, this is crazy. This is worse than the baby. What's his face? What's this face he's doing?
I don't know.
That's just his face, honestly.
Oh my god. Oh my god, yeah.
But
all right.
He's got the sandals with the socks on, though.
He's got like Mel's gut. He's got my stomach and everything. It's crazy. Like,
now compare it to DaBaby. DaBaby has more of a platform underneath him for starters.
The classic platform.
Well, it's a difference in budget. Like, DaBaby has like 300 music group money. Like Black Youngsta, he's got some like leftover Yo Gotti money, where it's just like, yeah, you got here's like 20 grand for your video, do what you can with it. And he's like, like, I'm trying to skim off the top so I can pay off a couple bills with that one. Like, you horse.
Whore. Yeah, exactly. Oh man,
I cannot believe what I'm looking at right now. I can't take my eyes off of it though. That's the thing.
It's nuts, man. It
really... in a way, I bet the Black Youngsta version is what Mel is picturing when he hears the song, whereas we're picturing the baby version, or even more so the crucified Nas. For all of our older listeners, we're seeing Nas on the crucifix. He's seeing Black Youngsta on the crucifix, and in all fairness, Black Youngsta much more closer in like stomach to body ratio for Ricky than Nas. So,
this is insane. First of all, I have to take this image off of my screen. DaBaby, people were throwing garbage at him, then picking the garbage back up and throwing it at him.
What?
Well, he had people on set because they were filming, and he's getting like stoned.
Oh, right.
They're throwing stuff at him.
So
there was not that much to throw.
Yeah. So they were re-rocking the stuff they were pelting him with.
The styrofoam stones or whatever, yeah.
What's that battle rapper? It's like, and then reload with the bullets that came out. That whole thing. Yeah. Oh my god. Hip hop is amazing. It's how you can. It's why we can do a whole podcast based around the concept. Okay. Oh my god. Yeah. Look. Literally, my God. I'm sorry
explain yourself.
Big G had to see this.
I hate that like my brain just like went even further back, and now I'm just imagining like DaBaby getting pelted by recycled trash can and just hearing Rakim on fucking The Punisher, reincarnate him and kill him again and kill him again and kill him again. But it's with like trash for some reason. Just like, oh god, wait, now I want to imagine. I don't even hate DaBaby this much, but I'm imagining Rakim pelting him with trash now. Just like Eric B standing menacingly. Do that.
Oh my god. Oh.
This is now the DaBaby experience is
oh no.
It started on the Donda album because I think that was his first verse after the incident on stage at Rolling Loud.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he spent the verse talking about, why are you trying to take food off my daughter's plate? I'm just trying to be the best I can be, and people are trying to take me down. And, we've chronicled his decline to an extent through our news segment over the last few months. But, this is the new, it's something I've seen with T.I. too, is this persecution complex baked into the music now, and it can't be removed from everything else. It's just the same DaBaby music as always, same flow, same type of beats, but now there's like just some bars about like people trying to take him down and silence him, and just take food off of off the table, and that's like the T.I. They're trying to kill the king. The heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Rappers discovering the idea of cancellation and using the same logic with it as they did haters is honestly some of the most like mundane shit possible.
That is actually what you kind of frame that perfectly right. They view cancellation as an extension of like haterism. It's like, no, this is a little more, because see, the thing is, they don't just like not like you for your music or the fact that you're rich. You stood on a stage and perpetuated stereotypes about the LGBTQ community. It's different, DaBaby, Mr. DaBaby, but it. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. So, yeah. All right. I think they probably forgot that they hate me by now. So let me make them.
No, let's remind them. You gave the song a 6+.
I gave it a 6, which is again
out
folks,
of the three of us.
Right.
Yeah, it's all right. Listen, I'll say this about the song: it's not like this totally original thing that we had never heard him do before up until this point. But I did have a take about your,
lack of enjoyment.
Lack of enjoyment here, partially coming from, I think you said you heard this one once when it came out, this tape.
Mm-hmm.
So either you just listened to it then and weren't blown away by it, and that was it, or it's something where Ross has reached a certain saturation point for you now. So going back with fresh ears and listening to this all these years, 10 years later now, you're like, oh, I've heard him do this a million times.
It does start there. Obviously, I'm listening with my 2022 ears, and I gotta be honest, this brand of beat does nothing for me anymore. Nothing. The peak of this brand of beat for him, to me, was BMF. I never needed another one after that, but I get it. You chase, so that's
a year earlier than this.
Right. But it was huge for him. So you're going to keep running that sound because that people respond favorably to it. I get that. I understand.
I mean, at that point, the sound was still really prevalent in like rap at that point, because it's like, I want to say it was like only like a few months before this that Tupac's Back dropped, which is like, for me, that is the worst of those records, and probably why it's for the better that Mike Will left that style of production back in the past aggressively, because it was just like, I am not quite sure why that record was one that people latched onto with the dun 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 dun, whatever. Like, but like this is like kind of we're getting closer and closer and closer to the pivot, because it's like, I remember I can't remember if it's a Ross album or the Maybach Music Group. It's the Maybach Music Group album where
Self-Made
there's like
Volume 1.
There's a R&B song. I think it's Wale and Meek and Jeremiah. I can't believe I said that. And it's like Lex Luger produced it, but it's like, it sounds like a Justice League like soul beat with a boom bap thing. It's like, so even Luger knew, he was like, all right, I gotta potentially skate away from this. So we're approaching the real definitive point of saturation.
We did what was it? Schoolboy Q, Habits and Contradictions in season 3.
Mm-hmm.
And Lex Luger has a beat on there, which is kind of in that same vein, like totally not the Lex Luger Southside sort of beat that, Waka Flocka, Gucci, Rick Ross, especially Jeezy.
Right. Luger in specific is very, we can actually get into that later, because Luger in specifically had a lot of diversity that a lot of people missed. I always remember people saying this one beat he did for Tyga, of all people, where it's like this really minimal synthy, like not quite a club track, but like a very like sort of like spooky synth, like it like real like expansive sound. It's not like the bombastic thing. It's very like haunting and minimal and kind of Memphis-y. And I like certain things like that constantly got forgotten about producers like this. So actually, I'll just say right now. So like Lil Lodi at the time, he was definitely considered kind of and also ran to Lex Luger, kind of like a budget Lex Luger. Somebody who did a lot of stuff that was like, I mean, like Willa Fool, who did a lot of work with Future, was considered one of these guys. Sunny Digital started out like this. There were a number of people that eventually branched out and did their own thing. But for whatever reason, Lil Lodi was the one a lot of people bagged on the hardest because Ross clearly was using him on a bunch of projects. But what I found really interesting is that like Lodi is actually from Memphis, and I always felt like he had like a lot of more classic Memphis influences, the sort of like the post 3-6 Mafia sort of sound that informed this. And he had a lot of different stuff. He has beats on like the Starlito mixtapes where he's like chopping up soul samples and transforming like he's a DJ. He did a lot of like dreamy, like expansive like synth stuff on like Young Jeezy albums and stuff. And even like the first big record he did, which is the most criticized one, which was ironically the original Puffy and Ross collaboration, Bugatti Boys, where it was like
another
it was
one,
supposed to be for that group album that never dropped, which for better or worse. And it's like it's got like a really aggressive like the bum, 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 like I mean there's like whole genres of that now with like I guess they call them funk, where it's like Russian kids are just making like techno that sounds like 3-6 Mafia sort of stuff. You've got like the Witch House stuff, the Space Ghost Perp. That was completely in vain with it, but like in a mainstream way. So I was like never sure why people were mad at it per se. I was like, this is fine, but I guess it was just because it was so obviously indebted to Luger and the idea that like, well, Luger is the guy, and like you pay attention to the South Side and TM88 because they're Lex Luger's friends, but you don't pay attention to anyone else. It's like it's the Timbaland rule or something, where it's like you don't actually enjoy anything by Darkchild because he's the fake version. And it's like, I mean, by that right, we shouldn't have enjoyed any Kanye West beats because he was budget Just Blaze, but we did, so I don't see the issue.
All right. Well, that just reminds me though of kind of the producer's plight. Is it's like you could be, I would say most producers probably, because they love music, they're more multi-dimensional than people probably know or give them credit for, but it's because artists want the same things from them and they got to pay bills. So it's like if Ross wants this kind of beat, then you make this kind of beat for him.
And it's the trends too. Like you've got to keep up with different things going around in order to make yourself viable if you want to sell beats to make money. So it's like if the DJ Mustard sound is blowing up and you're an aspiring producer, you want to at least try and see if you can make that sound. And like oh God, this is a very random tangent. I'm just bringing up so many memories from like 2011, 2012. I'm so old, but I'm thinking of all things, the Haji Beats mixtape Odd Future put out there, the Denna tape. There's like a Left Brain doing his version of like a Jerkin beat on that tape. And I'm just like,
which
because
makes
apparently
sense because they're in LA at that time. So
yeah, and and I think Haji was actually signed to Jayhawk's production group. I think YG appeared on a remix of the song in question from that tape, but not on that tape. And also there's one where Jayhawk is producing something in a post Jay Dilla sort of aesthetic, which you would never associate with the guy who made Tipping on My Dick or whatever the hell. But it's like that's the sort of thing where it's like, if you become recognized for something, you want to keep up with it in order to, capitalize on the moment. But it can be like you said, it can be a curse because then you get sort of pigeonholed with that sort of impression unless you work hard to maintain a sort of diversity of the sound within the moment. And not everybody's going to have that sort of wiggle room.
Yeah. I mean, listen, best of love, as we say on the show, to Lil Lodi. But I mean, like, even to be fair, I say I'm speaking from 2022, but even in 2012, with the sound being not as played as it is to me now, but I still probably wouldn't have liked it because of this reason, and it's that it has that sort of muted mixtapey mix. When you're making these big banger beats like this, they gotta feel big. And knowing what Ross albums usually sound like mix-wise, they usually mix pretty well. I know how this would have sounded on a proper Ross album, so I'm like, yeah, they didn't even do justice to the sound that like I'm tired of. So it's like, you know, musically, I feel like I'm hearing one of these beats of that era from, you know, it's the meme like Redbone, but you're in a bathroom. It's like it's in like the, you know, guy next to me, like the apartment next to me. It's like through a wall. It's like not as boisterous and booming as I would like it to be.
Muffled
but
rap
it's a
music
mixtape.
plays in distance.
Yeah, right. You know, so there's that. I mean, like I was saying earlier, Diddy, to be fair, Puff is arguably an all-time shit talker. So there's no shame in getting out-rapped by Puff ad-libs when you have actual verses. But yeah, I mean, when I get more mileage out of Fuck Your Dreams, nigga. This reality. And like, Father, please protect me from brokenness and bitch-ass niggas, bitch-ass bitches too. I get more mileage out of that than phone ringing, gotta be the Mexicans. Okay? And then he repeats it. It's like, what a line to repeat. You know, it just and Moulz, I want to say, because we talked about this on the phone. Listen, my teacher told me that I was a piece of shit. Seen her the other day driving a piece of shit. Now look,
it's all in the delivery there.
It is. No, he delivered it perfectly. Okay, before that whole like, you know, my teacher said I'd never be shit thing, but truly became a trope. Like, I would have popped harder in 2012.
We talk about this all the time, though, whether it's Wayne or Rock Marciano. It's not about tired subject matter. It's about saying it in a way that sounds new. And that's how you can keep running the same subject matter into the ground as long as you find new ways to say things. So
yeah,
there's a million rappers who will say, yeah, my teacher said I never amount to nothing. I heard that many times, right? But saying, my teacher told me that I was a piece of shit. First of all, that's you usually don't hear like the teacher said I'd be a piece of shit. Seen her the other day driving a piece of shit. Like,
that's great.
It's
a great line.
The way he leans into the piece of shit.
Look, it is a top 5 my teacher never cared line. I'm gonna give him that. It's probably the line that breathed too much life into the trope. Because like I remember this being a line that circulated, you know, because it's funny, it's impactful, it's emphatic, it works. It's not a bad line, but you know, 10 years later, everybody got a line about this. And I mean, I don't know. Look, not to be like freaking fucking respectability politics, Mel, but look, I was a good boy in school, and I feel like if your teacher is stooping to this level to say something, you must have been cutting up.
Oh.
I don't know. You got most teachers I've encountered in my life. You gotta have to make them go out their way to say something to you like that. You know, it's like I'm just saying. They ain't never did me like that. Okay, I was a pleasure to have in class.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. We know about you.
Wow.
You and Uncle Bob. Okay.
Rest in peace, Uncle Bob. Yeah, I mean, no, the line's good. Other than that, I mean, there's really nothing else that Ross is rapping.
You don't like the
really...
chorus? They say I'm getting money, must be Illuminati talking to the Holy Ghost in my Bugatti.
Oh, don't listen. What? First of all, The whole what an era. Don't get me started.
hold on. We've had this before because Mel got really weirded out with Uzi Black Queen. Like, worried, like, is this the occult? Do I have to worry? So whenever anybody brings up like semi-spiritual dimensions in rap, he's always like, like, you know.
I got enough problems in my life, Misha. I can't be inviting them the kind of energy, you know? It's just, now I'm going to tell you, this era.
But they're saying, don't let the devil in. Don't let him in.
That's a very moral stance.
Yeah, no, I rock with this stance. I do. I'm with them on that.
Here's the thing. What if the person telling you don't let him in is the devil? Then what? Because I could make an argument here for Diddy almost being the devil on your shoulder, being like, "Don't let him in." But he sounds he just sounds like you know. It's like, okay, I know what you're trying to say. Let him in.
Oh my God. Okay, I see.
It's also really prevalent when you think about. So I started obsessing over this the last few years, but like there is a very extremely strong like Christian thread in Puffy's work. Like just like there is a very like religious core at the center of Puffy's music that like people don't remember. I'm sorry that I'm saying Puffy all the time. I'm just like, I don't know why.
No, that's his name. His mama name is Puffy. I'm gonna call him Puffy.
It's like I've known this man since I was not known this man, but it's like this man has been a figure in my life since I was like 5. I'm not gonna just call him all of the different names, especially because he went back to Puffy recently. So I'm like, all right, fuck it, like we're back, you know. Yeah. But so like there's so many things, like even the first album, like I Love You Baby, or like all the weird like prayers in the middle of it, and this is like predating the DMX prayers that everybody like. There's like just like a constant thread of just like in his interviews where it's like, if I'm work the hardest, I will enjoy the fruit of my success, which is a real like, you know, like almost like very Protestant sort of like, you know, God rewards those who do the most. And of course him being a fanatic also, like he did a weird song that was like a bonus track for Press Play where he's just like yelling and shouting. I know somebody called it like a bass freestyle, and it's over a Miles Davis Bitches Brew sample, and he's just talking about like,
we played it, Mel. Get Off, it's called.
Get Off. Yeah. It's
we did.
It's like,
yeah.
It's like, and he's talking about like how he was like, you know, when my mama, hold on, when my mama brought me to church, you know, and I would start feeling the spirit. He has a very significant, like it comes up a lot, and I think like one of the most significant things was actually a beloved record that recently turned 10 years old, A Last Train to Paris. You've got Angels with Rick Ross as the substitute Puffy, with the substitute Biggie, with the sample of Biggie, with the I know who killed them, you know, and Puffy singing about like Jesus. Also, I'm Coming Home, a song that's very clearly about what happens when you die and you go to heaven, you know, though my kingdom awaits. So what is the best possible way for Puffy to express this? How about a song where his ersatz Biggie is out here talking about how like the devil is knocking on the window of his fucking, you know, $1 million car he got from selling drugs, and he's like losing his mind, you know, and just Puffy just being like, dear Heavenly Father, like, you know, like the true Puffy logic of like, protect me from those who would make me broke. It's like, you know, like I do this for you, you know, I manifest the Holy Spirit by being, you know, one of the most opulent and greedy human beings alive. And because I know I do this in your name, you know, to follow in your footsteps, please guide me so that I can keep doing this and be, you know, bountiful, because you only reward good people, which is kind of feeding into the, you know, the cancel culture rapper bullshit where it's like, you know, if I wasn't meant to be successful, you know, God wouldn't have given me this angle, you know, they preying on my downfall, you know, that's the devil in them. So very similarly, we're creating a bridge here from the era of the haters to the, you know, my enemies praying for my downfall, to the idea of like, you know, they're trying to cancel me and all this sort of stuff. Nothing new under the sun, unfortunately.
And they see me getting money, must be Illuminati, you know? And that was just expressed on the previous Rick Ross album, right? On Freemason.
Yeah, no, because that's the era of like all the man. It's been so insane that it's been a decade and nobody remembers the Illuminati anymore, which is great. But I'm also just like, I mean, unfortunately now we've got like things like QAnon doing all this other shit, which is worse. But at the same time, I can't remember if I've talked about it on this podcast. My most significant memory is like some DJ on Hot 97. When the week that My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy came out, and he was playing, it is a dark twisted family, but it really proved itself later on. Anyway, one of the DJs was playing the titular track, actually, the one with the RZA beat, and it's like when it got to the point where it's like the little auto-tune bridge vamping part with the and then my family held a seance, the DJ just cut it off right there, and he's like, look man, I can't have any of this seance Illuminati shit. I believe in God. And I was just like, what? Like literally one of the most aggressively Christian, always talking about how much his first song is about Jesus, and this guy is like, no, man, I believe in God. I will not play the Kanye West music that is of the devil. That was how pervasive the mentality was at that time. It's like...
No, that's Corpy at the end of I Am Allison.
It's... Because it's like, it's so hard to explain to people that like something like Tyler, the Creator, being like a 15-year-old fake atheist in high school energies, just like talking about God doesn't exist, Steve Harvey is a bitch, and it was just like, that was like revolutionary at the time, just because so much of like rap was like still kind of in this like respectability Christian, we even stopped, like rappers had stopped even being into Islam at that point because of like the DC shooter and stuff. You couldn't find a single God body, NOI member, like anywhere. And it's like everybody just had Jesus pieces. And it was just, like, this was like a decade of just nothing but like, religious imagery. And then also anytime anyone went slightly left and slightly creative, if you just had like a skull and crossbones shirt because you wanted your Jim Jones and you're just buying from the local Spencer's gift shop, it's like Illuminati, devil, he's sacrificing children,
drinking blood, all that. Listen,
why you think he calls himself Vampire Life, stay woke? And it's like, it's because he's saying he's a blood, god damn it.
I know exactly. I can never forget this. This was like and this must have been maybe 2011. He must have been 9 at the time. Like my 9-year-old cousin, I remember him like coming in the room at my grandma's house and telling me like, no, like don't listen to Jay-Z. He's in the Illuminati. I'm like,
yep.
Nigga, what do you know? Like you're not. And he shows me like this YouTube video. I'm like,
yes. Oh man,
God.
So many.
Like,
there were like 1 in 5 households had somebody in their family who knew about Zeitgeist or like Alex Jones before Alex Jones was even really a name, where he was talking about Freemasons were training seagulls to fly into planes, and that's what caused 9/11 and shit like that. Like fucking, like it's just like, that's an era that is so thankfully lost in so many ways, but it's like, that's another context that the record fits in, because it's playing with those tropes. It's like enjoying the fact that people are afraid of this and want to speculate. So it's like maybe I am, maybe I'm not. What do you think about that?
A lot of the pop stars leaned into it heavy. Jay, Rihanna, Nicki, Beyonce, Kanye. They leaned into it a lot in their videos.
I mean, even more mainstream people like Gaga, because I remember Gaga did a photo shoot where she edited herself to look like a mannequin that was also the Baphomet. And I know like so many websites like these, I shouldn't even name drop sites like this, but vigilant citizen types, where we're just like, look at this, look at this.
I know all about it, man. No, like I'm glad you name dropped it.
What Mel is not revealed yet is that he's actually the one that wrote that article.
No. Here's the thing, though. This is what I wanted to say, because the funny thing is, when my cousin told me all that, part of me was like, nah, nigga, you're not even getting the right information. Like, like, this is what, like, because I wanted to be sad. I'm like, oh my God, this is like influencing him. And like, he doesn't, but part of me, like, I had done my own quote unquote research and reading. Yeah, so I'm like, nah, it's not quite for the reasons you think.
It's tough when you've got that like sort of background at any period. Cause obviously my father was like a Wu-Tang affiliate. So, I'm like, psh, y'all ain't even read Behold the Pale Horse. Y'all lightweight. You use a YouTube video. And I'm just like, and in retrospect, I'm like, why the fuck was I bragging about that in my mind?
That's how
why was I like flexing? Like, see, y'all ain't even done the knowledge. You don't know about Bobby Emmett. You don't know about Dr. York. Like, you're out here listening to, Chuckles 193 on YouTube later for that.
Sonator TV.
Oh my God.
Yeah, man. God. It just, man, it got to the point, like, yeah, I'm glad it faded out. Because I think, this internet, it gives people access to things that I don't think they can really actually process, let alone discern whether it's true or not. But it's just like I had done like luckily I can tell everyone right now live I was smart enough and cared enough about my younger sibling to not actually send them down the rabbit hole. I'm just like, that's nonsense. Don't pay attention to that. Because part of me is like, all right, listen, bring them in the room, sit them down, open up the message boards, open up the website, show him what Jay's really up to. Okay, because it's not what they're telling you on YouTube. Like, it was an era, folks. It was an era, okay? It just, back when conspiracy theories were ultimately harmless and could just be used as marketing tools. Now, people are bum rushing Capitol buildings. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
To be fair, people were doing that then. It was just like, luckily for us, most of the harmful conspiracy theories were being done. Well, no, still being done by mostly white people. But at the same time, it's just now it's like so much of a more unified front. I can't imagine in the 90s a dude who's really into listening to anything that goddamn Farrakhan was saying, being like, no, Reagan has some logical points. It's like that feels like a different world. And now it's like fucking like anybody I know who's like slightly Hotep adjacent is like, no, see, that's why they hating on Trump. And it's just like, dog, he is not for you.
Look, I don't even want to. While I get that drop, I will say this in honor of the people who were riding for them conspiracies back then, that Hot 97 DJ, we were all like, fuck you and the devil. Right, fuck you and the devil. Number one. And
I put a Damien Hirst skull in one of my videos.
Jay, not now, Jay. We don't know.
Are you familiar
Jay.
with his work?
Yes,
I got this work. French electro guy who dresses up as a funny skeleton. It's gonna make you go insane.
You hear that, Jay? That's how you sound, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Look,
I always can count on you guys to positively uplift me.
Oh. Don't make yourself the victim, Jay. Stop it. All right. We just got done talking about that. We're not the haters, okay? You've done things. We know about it.
Fuck the haters.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. Ignore Jay. Well, we need to put that on the wall of Rap Ranking Studio. Ignore Jay. It's rule number 1. Ignore Jay. Yeah. Oh, here's the drop I was looking for. Yeah.
What got us on this subject anyway? We'll be discussing politics next.
Okay. Yeah, folks, this ain't the QAnon podcast. This is Rap Rankings. Actually, I will say this, because I'm children's media Mel. I was so shook by this like talk going on in the era that I stopped like caring about something near and dear to me, which is Pokemon, because I read some website that said the evolution chain of Abracadabra and Alakazam was like devilish because their head shape was like it was like a pentagram. I was looking at the head shape of these Pokemon, and I'm like, no,
Yeah, you're doing occultist, fucking not eugenics. What's the word I'm doing for?
Phrenology,
skull.
right?
Yeah.
You're worrying about the skull shapes of Kadabra. I'm like, what
yes,
the hell?
they told me it was a pentagram, and it shook my whole world for like a night. I felt so betrayed.
The internet is amazing. I love that like somebody could be like accidentally become like the dumbest version of Aleister Crowley logic and just put that shit out on DeviantArt, and somehow like that's a thing that's stuck in your mind for like 14 years or something like that. I just
right.
The internet is worse than any drug, like acid, crack. No, what you really gotta be aware of is Verizon Fios. That will destroy your brain.
Listen, the internet can either ruin children's media, or it can give you something delightful and absurd like Big Chungus. Okay, we need more of that and less brain rot.
No, what the fuck is Big Chungus?
You gotta know Big Chungus. Big Chungus. It's bugs, but it's a Moulz quick know your meme session.
Oh my God.
It's like I think it was like 1941. There was an old Bugs Bunny cartoon where like he was imitating Elmer Fudd. So, like he morphed his body into like Elmer Fudd's body shape, and they took a still of it. And it just turned into this absurd meme, and they called him Big Chungus. But it's gotten to the point where like Warner Brothers has acknowledged this. Big Chungus was in Space Jam, the new Space Jam. He's gonna be in this multiverses game, maybe. Like the meme has become a real thing at this point. But he just looks great. He looks rotund and amazing, and you gotta love Big Chungus. Okay.
I already know what you're referring to. I just didn't know that's what they call it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's his name, I guess.
I thought you were going to hit us with another, like, some sort of rocket power wacky Thornberry situation again.
Oh, no.
Wacky Thornberry.
Yeah, wacky. Damn. I'm the children's media guy on this show, Misha. It's
all good. It's all good, you know.
But, yeah, I mean, look, this is not a bad song by any stretch of the imagination.
No,
it's
a highlight of the tape for me.
I respect it. You know?
I think it's genuinely one of Rick Ross's top 5 best songs ever. Because I'm not a huge Ross fan.
Me neither.
How do I get it? So like one of the problems for me with Ross is that like the more he got into his like sort of like being a rapper and like trying to be a lyrical miracle guy, I was always like turned off. It was just like a lot of saying nothing. Like most of like once we got past hustling, which by the way, Gunplay definitely Ghost wrote that. Just imagine his voice. Stay woke.
Wow.
You know, like that's that in itself is like a fake Young Jeezy record, which we know Def Jam loves to do fake versions of different artists. 2 Chainz is Wayne and Gucci because Wayne and Gucci were too fucked up. Gunplay was going to be Flocka if Flocka had actually died, considering how often he was getting shot at that point. Def Jam love, and obviously because goddamn Jeezy was kind of like in and out and waffling and stuff like that. Ross was clearly brought in as a Jeezy supplicant in order to make sure, well, why don't we have 2 Jeezys, and this one is going to be even more loyal because like Jay always needs to exclusively own something. Like if he has to share anything, he always gets weird, so he needs to have his own specific version of something. So it's like I get the feel like it's like
own.
It's like Lupe Fiasco.
Products.
Jay clearly wanted Lupe Fiasco to be the thing because he never actually owned Kanye. He wanted to make sure he had a Kanye he could own and constantly like
my Kanye raps better than the real Kanye.
Like, just like somebody that's like, he knows my chain is bigger than his. He'll never try to son me. And similarly, that's what like right. Ross and that's what Ross is for Jay. It's like it's the Jeezy who is never going to who's always going to be it's a better G. It's a slightly more polished Jeezy, but he's more loyal, he's more corporate, and it's like that
loyalty is everything.
Absolutely. Look, there's an argument to be made that the Young Guns were eventually going to be groomed to be like the version of Dipset that he wanted, but it's like, it's like it just wasn't meant to be. Plus, he was a little too aggressive on biting Young Chris's flow, but that's been well trod ground. But like, what really did it for me is like, okay, so I have a canon in my head of Rick Ross performances where I realized Rick Ross might be getting good, and it's the first record for me is Trey the Truth Incredible, which is
great beat
a single
on that song.
Not that many people remember. It was like one of the many, speaking of trends, one of the many post a Milli tracks. Like there were so many, like Mike Jones and Young Problem's Boy, Gucci Mane and Mario Break Up. What was another one of them? Beyonce Diva. There were so many, a bunch. I can't even remember half of them. Oh God, the Rich Boy record. I can't even remember that one. Drop. Yes. Yeah. It's so many. So like, Incredible was like a kind of average one, but it was cool.
I liked
but
it.
It was mostly no. I love it too, but specifically because like Trey the Truth he's good, he's solid, he's fine. It's like if you're already into Trey the Truth at that point, it's what you want to hear. But the two guest verses are Wayne and Ross. Now Wayne's verse is very good. It's a very it's that period of Wayne where he was still sharp. Like, he's saying a lot of great things, like I'll cut your face, have you looking like Seal, or like bodies in the kitchen, brains in the shower, like women and the children, leave them how I found them. Like, just like Wayne is doing great there. Like, but what really fucks me up on that record is Ross comes in, and the first few things Ross does, he goes, "My money long, my temper short, my whip's foreign, my dick a boss," and I'm just like, "Is what?" This is the moment. This is the moment, because somebody else also had a theory long ago that like MC Hammer and BMF were, obviously that was Rick doing Waka Flocka, but somebody also said to me once that it was Ross doing Lil B, the hose on my dick because I look like Jesus. But obviously Ross is going to do a more pared down version of it. So he's saying, I think I'm Big Meech Larry Hoover, or I think I'm MC Hammer, which are like more like, it's not going to make people think you're being ridiculous. It just makes people think that you're being extravagant or whatever. And so that verse, though, that's when like Ross is like really starting to go unhinged, because he says, "Look into my eyes, do you see a CO?" in like this very pinched, "Look into my eyes," and in the video he pulls off his shades, and we finally see how revolting his eyes are actually. So it was very traumatizing. He's also screaming in Creole at certain points. It's like one of those moments where you're just like, "Fuck no, Ross bodied this." I've never thought that ever in my life. Ross might be getting good. And then the next logical step is, there's two next logical steps. First is the MMG Flex Freestyle, where Meek Mill is going like 700 bars a minute, because Meek Mill was literally born to do Funk Flex freestyles on Hot 97. That's clearly been his goal for his whole career. And so in the background of that, I recommend anyone watch that, because that's one of the best moments in hip hop of the 2010s, as far as I'm concerned. Even if it's just Meek Mill just spitting a lot of writtens, and like, it's so good because the dynamic is like Meek is just having the time of his life, but Ross is in the background doing like small dances and doing weird ad libs. Like, obviously he's going for the huh and the woo woo, like you, like, and also you could see Wale sitting next to Meek, looking very jealous and drunk. Like, we've learned that Wale's personality is always like that. Now it's an old territory, but at the time it was so fascinating to watch. Then, like, still relatively new Wale, just like looking like one eye half open, like clearly 7 bottles of like Ace of Spades to the wind, and just like looking at Meek like, he ain't as good as me. Who does he think he is? He won on songs with Jay. Like fucking like just real angry, fucking sullen hater energy. While Ross is pumping him up and just cheerleading amazingly. It's like, it's exactly what you want. And then the next bump is Now, another record that was hot at the time but forgotten, John, Lil Wayne, where Ross bodies Wayne on that because Wayne is in full autopilot mode. And it's clearly a knockoff of Rick Ross, I'm Not a Star, which is like a lesser version of Trap Era Ross. But also, like, Ross is just, like, eating that beat alive. And he's just, like, he's also, like, the ad-libs are really coming into, like, points where he's just making unnatural, weird screams with his pinched voice, like, yeah! And just, like, yeah! And it's just, like, what's going on with this guy? He's losing his mind. And so then we get to this record, right? We get to Holy Ghost, where, you know, like, obviously the piece of shit line is amazing, but what really makes it is the ad-libs are, yeah, yeah, yeah. There's so much. This is the peak of unhinged Rick Ross ad-libs. Like, everybody loves the, oh, boss. Woo! Like, but this is where he's really in his bag and just like really going off. And of
love
course,
the oh loud, oh loud,
and you've even got Puffy backing him up, like, you know, don't let him in. Like, you know, Puffy is actually taking the back seat on ad libs. Do you know how fucking on fire you have to be for Puffy to want to take ad libs? Back up on the ad-libs? That's down. Like Jim Jones 07 level amazing godlike ad-libs. That's a fucking rare art. Like, fucking, like, how the fuck was Rick Ross this good for this moment? And it's just like, he's combining all the elements, like the weird holy terror aspect, the drug megalomania, like fucking, like, he is now Biggie reincarnated because Puffy is telling us all, and we have to believe Puffy because it's not like Puffy didn't try to tell us Shine was that for a while, you know, we've forgotten all about that. But, like, you know, it's just so fucking just like, it takes the whole, like, Wagnerian aspect of Lex Luger Trap to, like, its absolute peak. Nothing was ever going to achieve this sort of, like, extreme high. It's ridiculous. It's, like, fucking completely, it's like Ultimate Warrior on 17 different steroids level of fucking overdone. Yeah. But it's like, it's for that one moment, it's just like, it hits its absolute zenith where, you know, that's it. Nothing is ever going to top this. We can't even try. This has been exhausted to the point of all possibility. And after that, anybody who tried to do more or worse than that, or like that, it all felt diminishing, to Mel's point. Right. And it's like, it was like a very swift come down after that, because it had gotten, there were a lot of hack producers at the time. And it's a shame that, like, again, that Lodi got recognized as one of these, because Lodi also, like, committed to a lot of records that people mistakenly thought, like, Luger did. Like, he did Gunplay's Rollin', he did a number of records that's like, but once you found out it was Lil Lodi, I guess people were like a little bit like, But it's a shame too. I mean, he also made the mistake a lot of those producers made of deciding after he had a couple of hits, I'm going to focus on my rap career and I'm going to keep all the beats to myself. And it's like, oh no. And, you know, his career dwindled down pretty quickly after 2011, 2012. But he had a really solid run, and he did a lot more than people. I get it, because this is like me being a beat maker, like, nerd, and it's like the kind of thing where I'm like, no, you don't want to hear the same. You don't want to hear the same DJ Premier MPC. You know, like, yeah, that's how it be in this everlasting gaze. You know, we've heard the beat a million times, and when you hear that beat for the millionth and one time, you're just like, fuck me, I just can't enough. And I'm just like in the background, like, you know what I want? I want fucking, like, alien noises premiere. I want, like, weird, like, fucking, like, clunky piano and drum loop premiere. I don't want to hear the fucking NPC stabs anymore. I'm good. And so similarly, I can't blame anyone for getting burnt out on, like, fucking Lil Lodi, but that was because, for me, I'm just like, I want to hear that weird song where he fucking chops up All I Do Is Think of You for Starlito, and Starlito is complaining about, like, having makeup sex with his girlfriend on it over that beat. It's like, this isn't a guy who just makes one record. It's just like, I don't know. It is what it is, and it's a shame.
It's like anything else.
Yeah. All right,
but it's like, I feel like he really did actually like complement the formula and expand it more than just provide like hack stuff. Again, I'd make that more of that accusation to the far more beloved Mike Will, who got no like I can't begin to understand why Mike Will at the time was considered great, because it's also all of the dreamy synth stuff Mike Will got like recognized for. Drummer Boy had been doing 2 or 3 years prior, and Lil Lodi was also doing it at the same time.
Well,
that was another vein of trap at that time that people kind of forgot and like left by the wayside because the BMF sound got big.
let me
It's
ask
like,
you this on that
Mhm.
front, because Mike Will has a beat on this tape that may rival this beat, in my opinion, the King of Diamonds record
Mhm.
later on, which is also another kind of Ultimate Warrior juiced up beat in the Lex Luger vein, not in the Mike Will vein at all. It's maybe the beat on this record or this mixtape that feels most like a horror movie to me. And this was definitely a saturation point for this sound for Ross, because when he put out Hold Me Back and he put out God Forgives I Don't, that album, coming off the buzz that this mixtape generated and the success of Teflon Don before it, was
Right.
not the moment. It was arguably either Teflon Don or this mixtape could be considered his peak. And then
Right.
after this, you start to see him also rely more and more on the sort of Justice League, Incredibles style luxury rap, and less on this kind of stuff.
And to be fair, I think that's something he's both more comfortable with and more like to his certain strengths, as like trying to make like sort of like he is a very album oriented guy. People love to listen to Rick Ross albums and just like soak in the opulence. There's that Kanye quote of like, "This is the only album I can play in my apartment." I usually keep rap albums in my car because I need to be in such a more grimy environment. And it's like fucking, which corny, but whatever. Like fucking, like, but it's like, I get it. If you want like that sort of like almost like, I guess the best way to compare it is like people who think of like rock like Steely Dan as being extremely well produced and lush, and also it's like you don't really pay attention to it. It's like kind of like that, except like I would argue that like Rick Ross isn't nearly as proficient at doing that justice. But I mean, it's for every time that's like I would like knock something like that, there is a weird record where he's got Robin Thicke on the hook, and he's just like flexing by saying Japanese dinners, and I'm just like, is that really a rich guy move? I mean, fuck it. He made it sound like it. Why not? Oh God, now I'm thinking about that one, the Magnificent remake he did with John Legend, and he's like, it's obviously clearly supposed to be about a girl, but instead the video has him like owning a horse stable, just telling these horses like, "You are the most magnificent creature that could ever be." And for all the old people and listening to this podcast, Special Ed does appear in that video, so it's like Ross truly loves to play up how old he is while also pretending he's not that old, also pretending he's not from New York, but we don't talk about that. Like, because he'll always do like these like moves, like like here is me getting these Pete Rock beats, and it's like I'm not like the other ones, and it's like, yeah, because you're from the fucking Bronx, man, we know, like,
Yeah,
but it's
and
just like
you're a mark. You've told us through your features, through the producers you've enlisted throughout the years, we know about it.
And it's like, I have no problem with anybody being a rap nerd. Like, more rappers being rap nerds in public is honestly kind of a good thing. But it's also one of those things where it's just like, I'm so disinterested in that sort of thing. But because to me, he feels like he would be any guy in Digging in the Crates. Like, I'm talking like Party Arty levels, any guy. And it's like, like, people enjoy it. People enjoyed listening to like freaking goddamn like 2010's Diamond D albums. I'm not going to judge anyone for that, but it's just one of those things where I'm like looking at a lot of that and I'm just like, you're doing a lot of this, but I want this where you were experimenting and having fun and bullshitting. Because sometimes like people just like fucking around and riffing, as I've said on different episodes, is where they have some of their most creativity. To the point though, King of Diamonds, I would argue that's Ross like kind of like less inspired and phoning it in because he'd kind of exhausted the, you know, that persona a little bit. And obviously Hold Me Back is like the real, that's where it's like no one can ever give a fuck about him trying to do this ever again. But
although I will go to bat for Elvis Presley Boulevard, underrated record.
It's now that record, it's in the delivery. Tell them crackers they can get the dogs. It's very entertaining to me. That's a great record. Yeah.
I'm now thinking of, oh god, that's really the key, is because it's like this is fucking like, this is something a friend of me and Lyle's, Chris, has coined, that DMX feeling, as Kanye once said, where it's like you want somebody to like really tap into that unhinged thing. DMX, and I'm saying this because I've gone back to those albums, you know, because DMX was literally one of my favorite rappers when I was a little kid, and so his passing really fucked me up. Going back to that, I just remembered how he was literally a superhero for me, because ignoring all the lyrics, ignoring all the everything, this was a man who was like just like constantly making dog noises. at age 6, I definitely was like, yeah, no, this is cool. This is so fucking cool. Like, you know, and so similarly, it's like you're listening to Ross super inflate his persona to these like superhero-esque levels. This, I mean, he did literally say on that one Nicki Minaj record, Vince McMahon of rap, and it's like, yep, no, that is you, man. Like, well done. But it always goes back to
you just want him to leave his comfort zone a little bit more, and I feel like
I feel like
he's been in cruise control for at least the last 4 albums.
Yeah, and it's just like one of those things where it's like I feel like he does better in he does better when he gets to lean on other people, which is of course why the Maybach Music Group stuff went pretty well, because it's like something like he has like very good taste and authority. I always think of him showing up and deciding to do a remix of I forget the one record where he just gets like Wiz Khalifa and Currency on it, back when they were like about to be Super High, the Super High remix, and it's like that was right when they were big blog names. Yes, they were big blog names, but they weren't like, you know, like nobody who was like listening to say like fucking God, I need an appropriate New York reference. Nobody who was listening to Uncle Murda was necessarily going out of their way to bump like fucking a Jet Life tape or anything like that. But they fit in perfectly with that aesthetic, and he used it perfectly. Similarly on this tape,
Tony Yayo, though.
Tony Yayo was very good, very advanced. You know, justice for Tony Yayo. Like John Cena's even shouting him out as an innovator. Tony Yayo, easily the most important member of G Unit after 50. Lloyd Banks fans, eat a dick. I'm sorry, you all need to get over this. Yayo was the truth. Y'all slept. I'm not
even gonna hate on that, because Yayo, I've met both of them, Banks and Yayo is like a social butterfly, and Banks is very introverted, and like I think Yayo's a bigger star.
Yayo was the ghost face. This is the thing people forget, but I could talk forever about Tony Yayo. We need to get off Tony Yayo.
And one day we may.
That's intriguing. Also, I just want to say, trigger warning for any of the listeners, but Tony Yayo talking about raping Ashanti with a broomstick on the police phone for those G Unit mixtapes. Incredibly gunplay to Rick Ross's 50 Cent energies. I just want to float that out there, but apologies for reminding of everybody of one of the hardest bars of all time, but not something that should be respected.
Oh, brother.
I'm a loyal G Unit soldier. I can't say much other than, Miss Allen, I apologize for any hurt that may have caused you or your family.
I mean, we've literally got Irv Gotti on Nori's podcast now talking about how he's like, he had Ashanti since she was 16 and she was supposed to be his forever in like somehow a non-sexual way, and I'm just like, you know what? Tony Yeo is the least of her worries. God bless. Like,
I saw that clip and I was just like, who does Irv Gotti have? Like, no big homies? Like, why would you say that on camera and admit to that in a document? First of all, why would you behave this way? Obviously, but then why would you openly admit to it?
Listen, like when you're very good friends with notorious Queens drug kingpins, and they are funneling money through your record label, it's like you do tend to like fucking think you can get away with anything. And unfortunately for Irv, his brain is still stuck in 2000. And, it's like, yeah, you can say things like Michael Jackson told you. No, you can get away with things like Michael Jackson saying on radio, Tommy Mottola said that Irv Gotti is his pet N-word, and that's disrespectful. And it's just like one of those things where you're just like, yeah, of course, like the fucking mobster is like in love with you because you're also the money front for the Supreme team in the 90s, like fucking people are dying around you left and right. And meanwhile, you're making these like fake Grease ballads with Ja Rule. And it's just like, like Irv Gotti is of course going to be a man who's like, just like thinking like he's still getting that luxury. Like any minute now, like, somebody's going to shoot all of his enemies like they did 50 again. So,
and Mel,
meanwhile,
you were just talking about Irv Gotti for the first time in 15 years? Because he's out there making a fool out of himself. But this is probably the last time people would be talking about him, honestly.
It's fucked up that of all the 50 Cent enemies, Benzino is probably more relevant than him, but that's a whole other story. I am so sorry. This has gone on so many.
No, you're fine. I'm just thinking about, you said Benzino, and then I thought about Coil Ray, and I'm like,
oh, and then you got to think about Benzino's face, where it's like, has anybody? I'm sorry for bringing this up. Has anybody noticed that Benzino's face is like warped now? Like half of he looks like bad PS1 graphics. Like half of his chin is sinking into his face.
But I do think he looks like if you typed in Elliot Wilson into DALL-E, the AI image generator, and it did its best to try to spit out a recreation of what they think he might look like.
He does look like an AI-generated human. Holy shit. Wait. Is Lil Michaela also Benzino's daughter? People, the coli, check me out. Stay woke. Do the research. Anyway. This is going to be, at some point, I'm just going to like start bringing up the Nubians again. And this whole episode is going to spin out into chaos. Like, Dart Adams is going to be DMing you like, listen, you can't say certain names on the show.
Shout out to Dart.
Please inform your friend. Please inform your friend that she cannot talk reckless about the 5% Nation or anything like that. I don't want to have to deal with people who know Papa Wu going after you boys. Like, it's not a good moment. It's like all of a sudden it's like I'm that time Charles Hamilton was like getting harassed by Detroit goons, and like Royce the 5'9" was supposedly on the phone with him. He's like, there's 3 motherfuckers who can keep them from murdering you, and I'm one of them.
Yeah, and I'm
we know that situation all too well.
God, of course.
We are keepers of the lore. We were in the cult.
I'm so sorry for bringing back that trauma. Speaking of,
it's okay. It's all right.
I just need to talk to 2 people who might actually remember this. How did you feel about the Charles Hamilton discussing the occult with the fucking Black Israelites video on
Saw Nader TV, Charles Hamilton? Yeah. I think it's one of the best.
That is literally one of my favorite moments. Like, Charles Hamilton telling people that Sonic the Hedgehog is the first Moore because his middle name is Maurice is like some of the most amazing galaxy brain shit of all time, and it brings me to a happier place. Charles, look, like I know you two have your own relationship with Charles.
You gotta go on YouTube. Saw Nader TV. Charles Hamilton on homosexuality. is the name of the video.
Jimmy Iovine is an alien. I'll also throw that in,
Yes,
like,
Jimmy Iovine is an alien.
Yeah, him with showing up with the self-mutilation scars of the word Sega in his arm. Like, God bless that man. I believe he's on much better medication now and doing better, but oof. Oh no, I'm sorry.
No, look, man, it's hey, what we've accepted, having come from that cult, is one of the, I guess, magical properties of the Hamilton universe is that he will just find a way to not die in terms of the public consciousness. Like, every time you think, okay, anyone, like, they forgot about him, he'll pop up like he did a few months ago, where he's beefing with Doja Cat, who's now one of the biggest, like, pop stars on Twitter. And I'm like, how is this happening?
He's kind of
How is this happening?
He's kind of got that weird, like, the Lil B energy, because it's like, listen, like, for whatever it's worth, at least the guy who ran a cult that you two were in isn't, like, out here like hassling 12-year-old girls for feet pics. God bless. We dodged a couple bullets in our lives, but fucking, like, there's certain people who have that energy, like those two, Azalea Banks, where it's like they're always going to get involved in stuff somehow.
Yes.
And you're just like, how did you, why are we still doing this? You can't shake these motherfuckers.
I'm telling, man.
But you know what it is? It all ties back to 2012, to take it back to Rich Forever. You think about, like, in 2012, her song 212 is a big deal. And also Grimes is a big deal. And they're both in New York at the time. And that's how she ends up at Elon Musk's house 5 years later.
It's all connected. It really is. I mean,
because it's that 2012 end of the world energy. They thought, oh, they were wrong. The Mayans, what the fuck, man? They were wrong. We're still here.
I mean, was that not the same year that Lil B was threatening to fuck Kanye West in the ass if he didn't acknowledge him? So
that was the same year, 2012.
Yeah.
It all convenes. All the ley lines are right there if people want to look. So and that's appropriate because you know what is present in all of the dark energies and the light energies of these individuals. It's the Holy Ghost, everyone.
To bring it on home, yeah, the Holy Ghost. I just gotta say, man. I mean, now that y'all brought up like the Charles Hamilton talking about homosexuality video on YouTube, there's a so in 2012 he was on, somehow he got
MTV
an interview.
News.
MTV News, and this is way out. He'd been off of Interscope for 3 years at that point.
He'd been punched in the face by his girlfriend, all that shit.
This is the J. Cole. It was like a 3-part. It was like three separate clips.
No, this was before the SOBs show I went to. That was like amazing, by the way. An actual
it was a great show. I have all the footage. Yeah, but he went to MTV News. Somehow, whoever he was in with at the time got him that interview. And I didn't know it at the time because, Everyday Struggle hadn't come out. I didn't know, but it was Nadeska. Poor Nadeska was interviewing this man in the midst of a literal... Yeah, it was Nadeska
Noisy
behind the camera.
Oh
boy. He was having one of his moments. And I just remember him talking about... She was like desperately like, can you explain what you're talking about? And he's like, okay, there's this thing called looking down. And it's like Viacom. And like, he's like in the camera, like, yo, this is a one. This is the biggest one. And we're like, what one? What are you talking about? But he's on his numerology. Beyonce is Silver the Hedgehog talk. So... And like, I don't know if this was like someone in the MTV editing room must have been having a blast because like they edited in like a static cut, like they cut him off. I'm like, yo, this is, yeah. So Nadeska was around back then. Is something that I didn't realize until years later.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's like sorely missed in rap because it's like, oh my god, it's like you don't want it, but also you miss those energies of like Prodigy trying to name like obscure Gnostic books to you, and it's like going on the internet and just being like, what's this pamphlet about? And you're like reading something that was like has no sources cited and is by a dude who like like fucking like made up half the shit. You get really I maybe it's because it's a perverse thing, but it's like I really do miss the energy where it's like every rapper was in a different cult. Like, because how many like Arrested Development was like one of the biggest rap groups, and then we all found out the weird old man was a cult leader. You know what I mean? It's like there were rap was so much better when there was like weird religious energy and every. Because look at Hammer. Hammer was the biggest rapper in America for a while because his whole thing was he did Christian rap. Like so, like fucking like. If anything, I think that like history has proven we need more religious energy in rap. I will like not like the weird Christian gospel rap circuit, which is just like but I think like more rappers need to be playing around with religion. So what I'm saying is, what I would like is I need to get some Raelian rappers. You know, I need to get some rappers who are in like the Shurinkyo cult, like threatening to do suicide bomber missions with nerve gas on their opponents, their ops, and all that sort of shit. We need to like re-diversify now because it's 2022. Hip hop is a new age. Like fucking like the closest we've had is like Extentacion like doing weird like Jordan Peterson rambles and like well no, we get the occasional SoundCloud rapper who like is like, yeah bro, I got a vial of my ops blood, you know, I sacrificed their soul to make sure that I can get a label deal, and then he doesn't get a label deal, and it's like, well, okay, but it's just like I want more of like major label artists doing stuff like that and somehow skating completely under the radar, because it's like that's a like in a weird way that's lost now, and I miss it just because it felt like almost more creative in a stupid way. Just like the idea that it's like you can go and you can watch this musician randomly decide he's gonna try to explain the Tao to people while discussing his new single. Just like, you know, like, okay, so you got this thing that Confucius set up and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, so what does that have to do with you doing this record with Nicki Minaj? And it's like, well, if you think about it, you know, it's like oh god, the closest we've had to that is Dua Lipa randomly tweeting about like the like Serbian separatism or whatever the fuck, and it's just like I'm like, you are who I have to get this energy from, like fucking like I'm just like looking at
something's
rappers,
going
like,
on with her.
Y'all fell off. Like you can't give me one fucking reference to like fucking like a doomsday cult anymore. Like I have to wait for Chris Brown on Instagram to talk about like fucking black helicopters. I'm like, y'all fucking fell off. This is sus.
Misha, I'm telling you, Dua Lipa, she's like Rick Ross in a lot of ways. She's a real head, and she's trying to find ways to tell us. She's already said she's not impressed by no Jack Harlow, and we've seen her on Instagram rapping along to encore album cuts from Eminem.
Oh god, that's so alpha. That's the DMX energy. Like that's the DMX feeling. Fuck it.
Oh man, look,
Fuck.
Misha, I feel you on wanting that back, but at the same time,
we should get it back. No,
no, right? Because at the same time, you don't want to be awake. This was like probably 11 years ago in this very room, because a man convinced you that Eminem's 3 a.m. video was secretly choreographed to his mixtape featuring Sonic the Hedgehog on the front cover, called "Well, Isn't This Awkward?" because they were label mates. So you're watching an Eminem music video on mute and syncing it up with the Charles Hamilton song because you believe this man because you're a teenager. These are the things that you don't really want to fall in with. It's not a good experience.
No, there should always be a way of separating yourself from like artists, because we love artists. Like 85% of artists, if only that, are insane people. You know, saying that as the child of an artist who I love dearly, but at the same time, it's like, once again, he did have those Malachi York tapes, despite being a Jewish man in his like late 20s. So what the fuck? But like, you know, like it's like you should always like, you know, take the step back from anything anybody in like popular music tells you, and just like remember to like readjust and look at life. You know, like a full Cool Keith. Look at life. Look at the sun. You know, like fucking just just like, but it's fun. It's genuinely fun when people express themselves like that. And Rick Ross, not a guy who really is expressive, not a guy who shows a lot of dimensions to his character. We still know very little about Rick Ross. Like, is he actually a CO or not? I don't know.
Well, see, I read his autobiography, actually, Hurricanes. Which was a great read. It was entertaining.
Really?
But yeah, he really was, but he chalks it up. Like, the fun thing about the book is, like, he still never quite lets the kayfabery down. So I'm not sure how much, but he admits to it. But he was like, it was just a job. You know, real niggas got to do things sometimes. You know, it was like, so it's like, okay. So he was, but he was like...
I'll forever give him a pass because he said the thing on the radio of the truth is far more sinister, and I'm just like, that's such a hard line. I don't even give a fuck. Like, fuck it, go, like, fucking, I'll find out you were on like a fucking like a Blackwater Death Squad. I'm like, who gives a fuck? You earned your right to get away with this shit.
The
go
key
for
to
yours.
Rick Ross, man, is he's secretly cartoonish if you hone in on certain things. For him to be, he simultaneously, lacks expressiveness, but it's there if you know how to interpret certain things. For instance, and this is my final thought on the song itself, when he says, never break the code, shock me with 1,000,000 votes. If you don't pay attention, you'll just skim right past that. But the actual image, if you stop and think about him, like in an electric chair, like John Coffey in Green Mile, getting zapped, and he's like, it's hilarious. It's great.
I hate that you made the Rick Ross voice for the electric sound. I'm imagining Rick Ross describing an electric chair, just going, zzz, zzz,
right? It'd be amazing.
The sound of me getting fried. Like, the Wingstop.
But he thinks about these like the things that he says. If you think about the actual image, it's hilarious stuff. So,
I agree with you there. I just mean, like, we know very little about Rick Ross, the person. His personal life is like being actually like revealing about himself, which is probably for the best. Not every rapper needs to have all their dirty laundry aired out in public, but at the same time, it's also like, it's like I think that maybe my teacher called me a piece of shit line is maybe some of the most vulnerable I've ever heard him, which is dark. Presuming he's not lying, which right. I can't remember the one tweet where somebody was like, so many rappers be saying about how your teachers were were like looking down at you, whatever. Man, none of them said that. Your mom's never kicked you out the house. Shut your dumb ass up.
All that,
just, I mean, it's like maybe it was true for like 5 guys who said it, but there's certainly at least like 10 other guys who's just like, yo, I need to put this on in the line. It's like, I need to come up with a like something relatable for all my listeners, and it's just like, man, like fucking like at least like fucking like. DMX was like fucking legitimately fucking schizophrenic. Why am I always defaulting to DMX? But like fucking like Rick Ross, I'm just like, if he told me like, mama didn't love me, I'm like, where the fuck is this coming from, man? Like, come on.
Rappers. That's just how they are. It really is. Oh man, I'm just once again, like even in tonight, like I wasn't expecting to talk about Hamilton tonight, but he came up, and now I'm just thinking about all the nights he sent me on like Pink Floyd, Wizard of Oz, Goose Chases. Like, it's just, oh man.
I mean, would it be better if we talked about that weird clip of Cassidy and Murder Mook beefing that got set to Austin Powers? Like, do either of you remember? Like, I have been dating myself like a maniac in this whole thing. It's just like, oh god, it's so obnoxious. Cool.
Yeah.
I know. I need to shut up before I start talking about like fucking like. I wonder if Jay Mills is in a cult now. Like, I'm like that might be a big flex for him. Just like out here speculating, like what would revive Jazzo's career if he went full Nubian again after the God, what was the non-Hawaiian Sophie single he did? Who gives a fuck? I'm already referencing Jazzo. I gotta shut the fuck up.
Misha, before we go, though, if you have any plugs, please, the floor is yours.
Unfortunately, I don't really have much to plug right now. It's a downtime for me. So instead, I'm just going to plug a bunch of other people's shit. Obviously, this podcast, if you're listening to this off of the strength of me and not these two guys by themselves who do a great job, then you should keep up with them because they do amazing. Just shout outs to everyone. Shout out to my roommate Siobhan, who has her wrestling podcast, Wrestling is Gross. I've been on there a couple of times. Shout out to my friends Rio Miyoachi and Patrick St. Michel. They have a couple of newsletters about different music out of Japan and the general Asia area that is really worth listening to, even if you're not into that stuff. They do occasionally cover rap. Shout out to everybody from my old crew at the Singles Jukebox, who unfortunately that site has been shuttered, but you can go back and read a lot of the reviews and get mad at them and get mad at me because I love handing out like low scores to some very beloved records. Yeah, I guess that'll do for now. Just thanks for anybody who enjoys me coming on and derailing episodes the way I do.
Oh, you're one of our favorite guests. You're always welcome back. So,
well, I appreciate it all the same.
We actually have a theme I can't talk about on the air, but the next theme season might be perfect for you. So we'll be in touch. I'll let you know privately.
Very well.
So yeah, Misha, thanks so much for coming on. And we've got 19 more tracks to go here, folks. So I think we're probably about 4 hours or so into this podcast now in general. So yeah, strap in. Probably got another 4 ahead of you.
That's right. Only on Rap Rankings, the place where you can recover from cults, as we've discussed, and get some great rap entertainment. So see y'all for the rest of the review.
Goodbye for now.
Yo, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all the other episodes, stop by raprankings.com or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform.